guess what? No matter what you do, not everybody's going to like you. See, I used to get quite stressed and find this difficult to digest that no matter what you do, not everybody's going to like you. And I'm just like you. We all like to be liked. In fact, certain people post certain pics on social media just to get likes. But then what I realized is that no matter what you do, not everybody's going to like you. Because you can be a hero to many and still be hated by some. Look, celebrities, they still get enemies. I mean, they crucified Jesus and they killed off MLK and JFK with a gun. Because no matter what you do, not everybody is going to like you. So let's take the 1 in 5 rule, for example. That means that out of 5 people, 1 is going to love you. They'll be your ride or die. They'll be with you by your side. The other 1 is just going to hate you, and there's nothing you can do about it. And the final 3, they'll be neutral and won't necessarily have an opinion. Because no matter what you do, not everybody's going to like you. So let's look at the UK population of roughly 60 million. That means that 12 million people are just going to hate you, period. The next 36 million won't necessarily have an opinion, and the final 12 million, they'll be the ones who love you. They'll be the ones who care about you. So just remember that no matter what you do, not everybody is going to like you. Have you ever had them days where you just don't want to get up? Emotionally in pain and you're just starting to feel fed up? Trust me, I've had those days too. I've had those days where I used to think, just why me? But now I tend to grab life by the face and tell it to try me. Because life can be tough, but you can be tougher. I know that ish can get rough, listen, word to my mother. I know that sometimes it just doesn't make sense and that it can be quite baffling. But I flipped it now. I tend to see pain more like an acronym. Why? Because powerful ammunition is needed as a vehicle to take you from where you are right now to the lifestyle that you're dreaming. So you might as well be productive and use it to your advantage. Because remember, a smooth sea has never ever made a skilled sailor. Come with me. Let's go on a quick journey. In fact, let's go back in history. Let's take this back to the 1950s when Julian Rutter came up with a psychological theory called the Locus of control, which states that you can either believe that the circumstances in your life are due to factors that happen outside of your control, external, or internal, that these factors are due to situations down to you. And it has been argued that those with more of an internal locus tend to be a bit more focused and on the long run have greater chances of success. And to make this relevant, I say this today because, to a certain extent, it doesn't matter who's in control at the top now. Because change can come from the bottom up. It doesn't always have to be from the top down. To a certain extent, it doesn't matter who's in control. Because if you choose to, it can be down to you to decide if you achieve your goals. And yes, I know it isn't easy. I know I don't always practice what I preach, but I at least preach what I practice. Because if I simply practice what I preach, then in other words, I'm just acting. See, my life used to be a madness, and my mandem still be trapping. But there's no need to panic when you can just be a maverick. So if you're tired of being average, living life stuck in traffic, then you've got to do something different to get the life that you imagined. So get up and don't be embarrassed. Don't listen to the cowards. Your life was meant to be lived by you and not to be dictated by the ballots. Wait, is it just me? Or have you ever wondered why? There are so many rumors out there about people disguised as truths, but really they're just lies. I mean, first it just appeared to me, But now it's very, very clear to see that sometimes people forget that there are three sides to every story. There's one person's side of the story, then there's the other person's side of the story, and then there's the truth. But the problem is that most people accept the first one, but then choose to ignore the other two. And then forget that us as people, we are emotions based. Therefore, we are emotive. Therefore, when people open their mouths, it means that they usually have a motive. Sometimes that can be kosher, but other times it's not necessarily true. So the next time somebody comes up to you and tells you a story or just hearsay about somebody else, there's one of two things that you can do. Off the back, just believe it and accept it as truth. Or you can gather all the information and then form your own views. Because remember guys, that gossip dies once it hits the ears of somebody wise. What if I told you that your last success can be the biggest enemy of your progress? We tend to become so proud of what we have already accomplished that we stop moving towards what we can still accomplish. I'll say that again. We tend to become so proud of what we have already accomplished that we stop moving towards what we can still accomplish. And why is that a problem? The reason it's a problem being adjacent to complacent is because in life, you just can't stand still. Because in life, you're either dying or you're growing. So which way are you going? Because you can either take flight and stay fly like a Boeing, or fall down from the sky like it's snowing. Are you putting yourself all in? Or have you just dipped your toe in? Because to get from the spot from where you are right now to where you want to be, I can almost guarantee that it will take a lot more effort than you are currently putting in right now. But even if you are number one at what you do, you have to keep grinding like you're number two. Because the guy that you perceive to be the one under you can indeed be the next one that will come for you. So keep grinding and never settle. And never let your foot slip off the gas pedal. Listen, don't wait for good things to happen to you before you start sharing gratitude. Do you agree that we're all eventually going to need help from someone in some way, shape or form in the future? So why wait for someone else to offer their helping hand first? Just pay it forwards, and you'll be surprised at what will come along your way. And yes, at first for some, this may seem a little bit awkward, but in the long run, trust me, you will be rewarded. Because the fact that you've helped someone means that in due time, you will have to get something back. In psychology, we call this the Law of Reciprocity. The act of a good thing happening to you because of a positive action that you've done before. Or, in simple layman's terms, because you've scratched my back, now I will scratch yours. So if you've been wondering why good things haven't been coming along your way, maybe it's because you need to be doing more giving. And if you're unsure where to start, next time somebody asks, just do them that favor. Or you can do other simple things such as tipping. And you'll find that this law will be on your side. But if you're still unsure about this way of living, just remember that nobody has ever been made poor by giving. It's okay to be different. It's hard to keep up with everybody else when everybody's trying to do the same thing. But if you be yourself and people like you, then you're always going to win. Because nobody can beat you at being you. It's okay to be different. It's hard to be an imitation of somebody, because an original is always going to be worth more than a copy. It's okay to be different. And if people don't like you for being you, then just forget about them. Go where you are appreciated and not tolerated. Go where you are invigorated and not dominated. You don't have to force yourself to conform to those around you. Let them like you for you. not like you for somebody like you? Wouldn't you rather be the voice than the echo? Wouldn't you rather be the body than the shadow? You don't have to necessarily suppress who you are to please others. Just understand that you may just be on a different journey, and you don't need the approval from other people to make you feel worthy. It's okay to be different, because why fit in when you are born to stand out? When to be outstanding, you have to stand out. Think about it. It's okay to be different. I woke up this morning to see that Ali was trending. See, I knew from the night before that he was on life support, but I never knew that soon his life would be ending. I wanted an answer, but I didn't know the right question. So I paused for a second and thought, what life lessons can we learn from this legend? Because it's clear he'd made an impact. Not many in history could have did that. Getting called the greatest of all time for smacking up guys to the left and the right and sending some body shots to their six packs. But outside of the ring, he was more than a king, because he stood up for what he believed in. He would rather leave his rep on the floor and rather go to prison than war could blowing up another country he wasn't feeling. But sadly in his later days, Parkinson's made his brain decay, but his name lives on and will never fade away. So as I come to the end of my piece, I want to say Ali, rest in peace, and thank you for making this world a greater place. Muhammad Ali, R.I.P. Yo, seriously, stop taking life so seriously. Why? Because you can't get out of it alive. Because even though it's a bit of a taboo, it's true that we're all eventually going to die. Which is why you should try to see every single moment in your life as a gift. Because you haven't bought it, you haven't earned it, you certainly haven't worked for it. In fact, there's no way of even assuring that there'll even be another moment. It's just given to you. And to appreciate life, there isn't a cost attached to really understand this value. And yes, you may argue that life isn't fair. But if life isn't fair for anybody, in a sense, doesn't that at least make it kind of fair? And yes, I know there'll be times where things just stop you in your flow. But if the problem in 1 month or even 1 year won't matter, in the words of Princess Elsa, sometimes it's just easier to just let it go. Because life is too short to always complain or to moan that things aren't going your way. Because you can either just sit and wait for the storm to pass or just learn to dance in the rain. Watching ballers your age or younger at the World Cup, thinking, oh man, that should have been me, but you just didn't get the luck. Life is already hard. Or having any other dreams, like being a singer, an author, or a transformer, or even a movie star on the screens, but now you're getting on in your 20s or you're in your late teens. Life is already hard. But even though it's never too late to pursue those dreams, you decided to go down the traditional route of getting a degree, but then realizing that paying all those uni tuitions hasn't necessarily put you in a better position than those who didn't. Life is already hard. Then after 3 or more years of independence, you now have to move back to a room in your parents' yard. Life is already hard. Or you did the other route of just getting yourself a job, but to find that there's other things that you'd rather do with your time than committing to making somebody else money for 37.5 hours a week. Life is already hard. And especially if it's not your ideal career, and realizing that you're unlikely to get one anytime near because they want experience. Life is already hard. So this happens to the majority of us. They say about 97% of our population. But the sad thing is that we don't necessarily try to change our situation. We're just like those frogs in the pot. But then, every now and again, this may have happened to somebody that you don't even know, or it may have even happened to your friend. They get one little idea, just one little glimmer of hope to help them to move towards that 3%, or the dreams that they had when they were younger. So ask yourself, where are you at right now? And where is it that you really want to be? But most importantly, are you working towards it? But then, little did they know that their decision to try something ever so slightly different, whether sticking to the original status quo or trying to break away from tradition, they're not safe. You see, they'll have many people around them who try to pull them back down. Crabs in the bucket. And if you're one of them, I ask you, why? Consciously or unconsciously tarnishing their reputation. Why? Is it because of something they've done to you? If so, then I suggest they let them know, but if not, then why? Or the worst one, smiling in their face, but then talking behind their back. Why? And when he talks smack behind the person's back, the sad thing is that the recipient tends to believe it. But I already told you in my piece, 3 sides to every story, that there are indeed 3 sides to every story. Because more time the person telling you the story is only doing it to please themselves. That's why I don't let the news on the TV amuse me. I get fed more news on my screen by my Facebook newsfeed. So why don't we try it like this? Why don't we go extreme and not believe anything anybody says about anybody else, even if it were good, until we find out for ourselves for it to be true? That way, there wouldn't be so many messages from all those opinionated pessimists. You know those people around you who question all the good things they hear about you, but then believe the bad without a second? And just because you may not like that person, please, it doesn't mean you have to go and spread a bad word about them. Your words may just stop the next inventor like Henry Ford, sportsman like Michael Jordan, or entrepreneurial actions like Richard Branson. And how would that make you feel? Denying the world of a new spark, much needed in this opportunity-famine economy. Oh, but it won't work, you'll fail, don't make a mistake. So what? If you're gonna accuse me or anybody about failing or making a mistake, you might as well accuse me of using the toilet in the morning too. Because both processes in life are natural. Because nobody's perfect, and that's not my opinion, that's factual. And if you don't like someone, or if you want to criticize someone, or it's because you just want to moan, just remember that people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Because I can't think of anything sadder. They're not following your dreams, instead becoming a permanent subservient, but then I guess some people just choose the latter. I wish we could just live with Hakuna Matata, but we're just the crabs in the bucket, or the 5 monkeys, the bananas and the ladder. So if you are one of the fortunate few who knows in life what you actually want to do, it's time to take the crabs out and put 2 tears in. 2 tears in a bucket. And don't listen to them donuts who can only see the hole in the donut, because what other people think about you is actually none of your business. Because when you realize that other people's opinions neither makes you or breaks you, then you can live your life wherever your heart takes you. But then never settle. Don't be deluded and think that the problems stop as you got the staircase to becoming successful. As Tyree says, to every level, there is another devil. It doesn't get easier, and that's just the way that life is, and that's just the way it should be. There's no point getting by and not challenging yourself. That's like you right now going back to school and staying in nursery. So whether you believe the earth is 4.5 billion years, or simply 2,000 years, our lifetime is only a fraction. It's just a fraction of this duration. Before we leave this big blue marble and pass this on to our next generation. But what are we going to leave them? What are we going to teach them? That we're all just crabs in a bucket trying to get out? Or that we accept the differences in one another and show no hostility towards them or their dreams? Just remember that when people sometimes depict you facts about somebody else, whether positive or negative, remain neutral. This way you won't be mistaken for being gullible, nor will there be another thought about a person that isn't true. Your life is made up of 2 dates and a dash. Make the most of that dash.